Today's evolutions are going to be pretty exciting for me because I finally have two Pokemon that I've been looking for a very long time. Before we evolve anything though, I do have a couple packages to open. I got one of these kickstand / holdy ring things. I don't know, I'm gonna try it out. I've never been a fan of like sticking stuff on the back of my phone. I feel like even having a case on it is sometimes too much, but it should make playing one-handed a lot easier, and I should get some better throws while I'm recording. So I'm excited to try that out. Plus it has Bulbasaur on it. Now, this one. I'm excited about this. And so is Cassie. As soon as she found out that part of this package was for her, she's been bugging me all day trying to find out what's inside it. Check these out. Boom. Snorlaxin. Viridian City. A couple hats from Catch & Co. I'll put the link in the description. Totally not paid for. I just thought these were awesome hats, so I bought them. How's it look? Is my face too dark now? Oh well. Alright, let's evolve some Pokemon. Check it out. Charmander, very exciting. Drowsy, not very exciting for a lot of you. Execute, very exciting for me. Kakuna, I kind of evolved that just for XP earlier, but I do want a Beedrill with Bug Bite X Scissor. Machop, another exciting one. Ammonite, very exciting for me, and then Psyduck and Staryu, sort of filler. Staryu's more exciting than Psyduck now. But I'm going to start with arguably the least exciting, Kakuna. And Bug Bite Sludge Bomb. Bummer. Lots of questions about Gen 2 this week, about 2nd generation, since it is possibly coming very soon. Again, I don't want to confirm that, it's just a rumor at this point. But the first question is, how has the CP update affected the maximum CP of some of the Gen 2 Pokemon? Well, the Silph Road has a stats page for all Pokemon that now includes 2nd generation, so check this out. If you go to their species stats page, which again I'll link to in the description, there's a checkbox for Gen 2 Pokemon, and it'll list them all there. So just to read some of the strongest Gen 2 Pokemon off to you, Tyranitar is going to be the new highest CP Pokemon, highest CP non-legendary, at 3,670. That's going to be its max CP. Blissey, that's Chansey's evolution, will be the second highest out of 2nd generation at 3,219, which is huge because it's going to make probably the best defender in the game, considering it has even more HP than Chansey does. Donphan comes in 3rd at 3,022, Espeon 3,000 even, Heracross 2,938, Scizor 2,801, Ursaring 2,760, Feraligatr 2,721, Ampharos is actually lower than Jolteon now, at 2695, although not by much. Typhlosion, 2686. Porygon 2, which I'm very excited for, 2546. Houndoom, 2529. So there are going to be some pretty strong 2nd generation Pokemon coming. And if you want to see the full list, if you want to see all their stats, that includes HP, attack, defense, go ahead and hit the link, it's in the description. Next evolution. I'm going to do Psyduck. I'm still looking for my Water Gun Hydro Pump Golduck, but Golduck did just get nerfed, so it's really not that great of an attacking option anymore, and since its CP went down, it doesn't really make a good defender either. But I'd still like to have one with the ideal moveset. There it is, my glowing ball of Golduck. Water Gun Psychic. Okay, I guess I'll keep trying. Continuing with the Gen 2 questions, what are my thoughts on Gen 2 approaching and legendaries? Shouldn't they have events for legendaries first? This comes up quite a bit when talking about 2nd generation, about how 1st generation legendaries aren't even available yet, but I think the reason that Gen 2 might come before legendaries do is because it's a lot easier to add Gen 2 Pokemon than it is to hold events for legendaries. And we know that Niantic does want to hold events for legendaries because they've said it in the past. And now they've also said that it takes a lot of work, a lot of preparation, because essentially what they're going to do is organize almost a marathon. For their first game, Ingress, they sort of have these huge walks where everyone comes together, they plan out this route, and people walk through a city to hack portals and do whatever else you do in Ingress. So in Pokemon Go, it would be something similar, where a lot of people are coming to one specific location, and they're going to have an event there that will somehow grant you that legendary by the end of the event. Again, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, but that is going to take a lot of planning to secure a space, to get all the permits, to do all the organization. At least tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people converging on one location. It's a very difficult thing to manage. Adding Gen 2 Pokemon is much easier. It doesn't require permits, it doesn't require spending any money. So for that reason, yeah, I do think Gen 2 could come before Legendaries, and possibly very soon. How about Staryu next? That's really not that exciting to me either. I do have one with Water Gun Hydro Pump already. I'd like to have a stronger one. I'm not sure if this one has better IVs than my other one, but I guess I'll find out once it evolves. If it has Water Gun Hydro Pump, first of all, and if it's not a glowing ball of light. Water Gun Psychic. Couple questions about Gym Prestige. It was just recently changed, and they finally made it so that Gym Prestige, when you're attacking a gym and when you're training a gym, are even. That means you can gain 1,000 Prestige per Pokemon that you beat, whether you're attacking the gym or you're training it up. So finally, there should be some sort of balance among gyms, meaning they're not going to be super easy to build up to level 10, but they're not going to be super easy to tear down to level 0 to take over. It's finally even, so you have just as good a chance to build it up as you do to tear it down. Now, as far as the formula, if you want to get that 1,000 Prestige when you're training, you do need to use a Pokemon with half the CP of the Pokemon that you're battling against, or less. I have a full video explaining this when they first made the change, when they first changed it to 1,000 Prestige, so you can check out that video right up here if you want the full explanation. But for now, just know that you do need to have your entire team below half of the CP of the Pokemon in the gym if you want to get 1,000 Prestige. As far as the best strategy, I like to aim for a clump of Pokemon that are around the same CP. So let's say there's 8 Pokemon in the gym and the first 3 or 4 of them have 2,200 CP. I would choose all my Pokemon to have 1,100 CP or less, and then just beat those first 4 Pokemon. So then I get 4,000 Prestige, 1,000 for beating each of them, and then not really bother. I mean, if you can beat more than that, definitely go for it, but just try to aim for at least one little clump. Okay, Drowsy? This is only the second Drowsy I've evolved. I don't get a ton out here. I got a lot during the Halloween event, but this is the second one that has IVs worth evolving. Hopefully I can get Zen Headbutt Psychic, I think is what I want. Zen Headbutt Psy Shock. Not quite. How does speed affect the new stat formula? As you know, previously speed made up a very small percentage of the stat formulas for attack and defense, but since the recent CP update, since the rebalancing, speed makes a little bit more of a difference. In a previous video, I said that the new stat formula uses 2 times 7/8 of the higher of a Pokemon's 2 stats plus 1/8 of the lower of its 2 stats. That's either attack or special attack. But beyond that, there's also a speed modifier, a much more significant speed modifier added to the stat formula. Essentially, it compares a Pokemon's speed to the average speed, and if it's higher than that, the Pokemon stat gets a boost. If it's lower than that, the Pokemon stat gets a little bit of a penalty. So that modifier is 1 plus the Pokemon speed stat minus 75 over 500. So 75 is what they're using as average speed. Any Pokemon with higher than 75 speed is going to get a boost. Any Pokemon with less than 75 speed is going to get a penalty. To show you how it works, let's look at 2 Pokemon, one fast, one slow. For a fast Pokemon, we'll look at Jolteon. It has 130 base speed, which is well above average, and it gets an 11% boost to its attack stat and its defense stat because of its high speed. For a slow Pokemon, Snorlax has 30 base speed, and since it's so slow, it actually gets a 9% penalty to both its attack and defense stats. So it's kind of crazy then that Rhydon's CP is still so high, that its attack and defense are so high, considering it has 40 base speed and therefore gets a pretty significant penalty to both of its stats. Things are starting to get a little more exciting. I have this Machop. It's gonna make a pretty strong Machamp. Honestly, I'm not sure why I'm evolving this. I should just save my candies to power up the ones I already have. But 4,500 Stardust means it's a pretty high level. I could get something pretty good out of this. I don't know. It's kind of hard to justify it now that I'm doing it, because I do have one with the best moveset. I actually have two with the ideal moveset already. Maybe I could get a better defensive moveset? I don't know. That would be what? Bullet Punch Submission, I think? Or even Bullet Punch Cross Chop. A Bullet Punch Machamp would be good for... Oh, there we go. Bullet Punch Stone Edge. That's actually not bad because Bullet Punch and Stone Edge cover some of Machamp's weaknesses. Against a Machamp, people are most likely going to be using Psychic, and neither of these moves are super effective against those, but if someone decided to try to use Flying, which is also super effective against fighting, Stone Edge is going to be super effective back. I'll look that up DPS-wise. This is my updated spreadsheet with defensive rankings and overall dual ability rankings, which I'll be going over tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Bullet Punch Submission is the strongest DPS defensively, followed by Bullet Punch Cross Chop, and then Bullet Punch Stone Edge, but the difference isn't huge. So I'm not too upset about this. This is going to make a pretty good defender, and I think it's actually pretty close to my other Machamp's CP already. What are your thoughts on the Silph Road's new tracker? For those of you who aren't aware, the Silph Road did just release a triangulation tool. It's not actually a tracker, but it does help you locate Pokemon using the sightings list. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to test it out because I can't get far enough away from Pokestops here to actually get the sightings list back. But essentially what it does is it lets you mark your position and say whether or not the Pokemon is visible on sightings. So when you first say the Pokemon's visible, it'll draw a big circle, and as you move around and mark visible or not visible, parts of that circle will disappear until you're left with a very small area, and then you know that the Pokemon is going to be somewhere in that area. Theoretically, it should work very well as long as you have sightings. If you have the new nearby Pokestop feature, it's not going to work with that, but the whole Silph Road team has been using it, and it seems like it's going to be something that's very helpful for rural players who don't have the nearby system yet. And if Niantic comes to their senses and gives us the option to switch between nearby and sightings, it will become even more useful. So again, that's another link that'll be in the description, and hopefully I can head out to a more rural area sometime this week and test that out. Okay, here's the really exciting stuff. Ammonite. I've been waiting a long time to get a decent Ammonite for evolving. I finally have one. Caught this one in Santa Monica, and we did just catch an Ammonite last night, so that kind of made it a little less exciting, but I'm still excited nonetheless. I'm hoping for Water Gun Hydro Pump or Water Gun Rock Throw, Water Gun Rock Slide, because those are the best offensively and defensively. So let's see what it is. Water Gun Ancient Power. Bummer. I waited all this time. I guess I could just go back to Santa Monica because we caught so many Ammonites out there. If you have a Kingler with Metal Claw at level 30 and a Dragonite with Steel Wing at level 30, will the Kingler deal more damage when spamming the fast attack, even though Dragonite has much higher CP? Yes, absolutely it will, because CP is a terrible indicator of a Pokemon's actual offensive and defensive abilities. CP combines all of a Pokemon's stats to give you a number that's sort of like how good it is overall, but it doesn't tell you specifically how good it is on offense or how good it is on defense. Kingler is still stronger than Dragonite in terms of Steel-type damage, even though its CP is lower. Dragonite's attack stat is higher than Kingler's, but Metal Claw's DPS is better than Steel Wing. So Kingler spamming just Metal Claw is stronger than Dragonite just spamming Steel Wing. But again, you can't rely on CP to know how strong a Pokemon is offensively or defensively. Again, if you want to see every Pokemon's stats, you can check the link in the description for the Silph Road's stat page. You can also organize Pokemon listed by highest CP or by highest attack, highest defense, highest HP, so it's a good way to know which Pokemon actually have the highest attack stats. And you might be surprised that some Pokemon with lower CP do have higher attack stats than others. Execute. I have been waiting since Hawaii. Since Hawaii, I've been looking for a decent Execute. I did evolve one that I hatched, but it wasn't actually above 80%. This one is above 80%. Probably not far above 80%, but I've been waiting almost 4 months for this. it's actually not as exciting anymore because Exeggutor did just get sort of nerfed. And again, I caught one last night, but let's see what it ends up with. Zen Headbutt, Seed Bomb. Kind of a bummer. Oh well. The one I caught last night is better defensively. The one I evolved previously is better offensively. It's not that big of a loss. But it is a perfect segue into this next question. I don't know why you downplayed the tracker in the beginning. You caught Omastar, which I just evolved, Exeggutor, which I just evolved, and Charizard, which I'm about to evolve. I did catch a lot of really great Pokemon, thanks to the new nearby feature, so I'm not saying that it's not good, I'm saying that it's not good for everyone. If you're like me, if you live in an area with a lot of Pokestops around, it's going to be extremely beneficial. It's going to help you a lot. Like you saw yesterday, Hitmonlee, Omastar, Exeggutor, Charizard, all with this new nearby feature. But if you live somewhere where your only Pokestop nearby is a kilometer away, you're only going to see the Pokemon that spawn at that Pokestop, and what are the odds that any of those rare Pokemon are really going to be there? When you live somewhere like here, in LA, in Southern California, where there are tons of Pokestops everywhere, you have a much better chance of seeing rare Pokemon that spawn. When you're in a rural area with only a few Pokestops around, there are so many huge blind spots where you'll never know what Pokemon are there because it's only showing you what's at the very few Pokestops. So yes, I do like having the new tracker here, but for rural players and people who don't have a lot of Pokestops around, I think they need another option. Okay, now, speaking of Charizard, here comes the last evolution. I've been walking with this Charmander for quite a while. I finally made it up to, actually I'm well above 125 now, but let's give it a go. I did catch, I do have 2 Charizards, obviously the 36 CP Charizard from yesterday, and I have another one that's around 1500 with Ember and Fire Blast, which is ideal offensive fire-type moveset, but I'd like to have one with good IVs that's actually worth powering up. There's my Ball of Light Charmeleon. Let's see what Charizard ends up with. Wing Attack, Flamethrower, dang. Wing Attack Fire Blast is Charizard's highest DPS offensive moveset, and the reason I'd be okay with having Wing Attack Fire Blast on Charizard is because they're both super effective against grass, which makes him a very good grass-type counter. But Wing Attack Flamethrower is second overall on offensive DPS, so that's actually not bad either. Not sure if I'm going to invest some Stardust in powering it up yet, though. One last question. Which Pokemon were you most excited to catch, and why? That's actually kind of a tough one, but I would have to say... I'd say it's a toss-up between Lapras and Farfetch'd. Probably Lapras. Farfetch'd was exciting, obviously, because it's my first region exclusive outside of North America. So that was a really fun experience. I know that I just sort of ended the Japan series, but if you missed any of it, check out the playlist. Can I link to a playlist here? I don't know. If I can, click up there for the playlist. Otherwise, check the description for the Japan playlist. But I think I have to give it to Lapras, because Lapras I've been wanting since the very beginning. It was always one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. I remember as far back as, probably still in July, we were in Chinatown and I threw some money into a fountain and sort of jokingly wished to hatch a perfect IV Lapras. So I've been wanting Lapras for a very long time. It took me 4 months to finally get it, and I had to travel to another country, to another continent to actually do that. But that was a really great experience to be over there, to meet Reversal and Ben, to meet Josh, and just everyone in Japan, everyone who was there for the event, everyone who lived there. So all that surrounding the Lapras and also Farfetch'd catches made those 2 of the most exciting for me. And people are always saying I don't look excited, but I promise you guys, I am. I'm just not going to be over the top like you're probably used to seeing on YouTube. So that's it. That's it for this Q&A. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something. I gotta go show Cassie her hat because she's probably wondering what was in that package. See you guys tomorrow.